Mega tsunami threatens Alaska if catastrophic Barry Arm Fjord collapses. Scientists reveal the data that brings them to this warning. Please consider supporting my Patreon account. As you can see, YouTube has again demonetized me. I've been demonetized for 8 months and I have no idea why. I thank you for your support and hope you find all of this interesting. And now let's continue. Alaska faces a mega tsunami, they say, and it will be bigger than anything the world has seen in recent history if a slowly crumbling fjord suddenly collapses. And this is what the scientists are warning us of because of the latest data. Scientists say that the resulting event could happen within the next year. Yes, that's what they say, within the next year, and most probably, if not next year, within the next 20 years. So that is a very short time period, obviously. This is the map of it, showing it up there, about the 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock position on the map. It would drastically outclass, they say, the 1958 Lituya Bay mega tsunami that took place in Alaska. 1958 cataclysm triggered by a magnitude 7.8 earthquake, and that earthquake produced a tsunami with a 1,700-foot wave that's believed to be the tallest wave in modern history. But now the collapse of a mountainside near Alaska's Barry Glacier has a potential to release 16 times more debris and 11 times more energy than that 1,700-foot wave. The threat was exposed by Ohio State researcher Dr. GETTY Dai, and she analyzed the satellite imagery of the Barry Arm Fjord just 60 miles east of Anchorage. Dr. Dai found an entire mountainside with the fjord slowly but surely shifting. And if the entire mountainside ever collapses at once, the scientist believes the fjord's shape would amplify the resulting wave into a major tsunami. Dr. Dai said it was hard to believe the numbers at first, she says. Based on the elevation of the deposit above the water, the volume of land that has slipped, and the angle of the slope, we calculated that a collapse would release 16 times more debris and 11 times more energy than Alaska's 1958 Lituya Bay landslide and the mega tsunami, as we said before, with the 1,700-foot waves. Now, to put that into perspective, the 1958 event released millions of cubic yards of debris about 2,000 feet into the fjord. The event was compared to an atomic bomb going off, as the resulting wave obliterated millions of trees in a wide radius. Now, Bill and Vivian Swanson were witnesses to that cataclysm from Anchorage Bay in 1958, and they said the glacier had risen in the air and moved forward, so it was in sight. It must have risen several hundred feet, they said. I don't mean it was just hanging in the air. It seemed to be solid, but it was jumping and shaking like crazy. Like chunks of ice were falling off the face of it and down into the water. That was 6 miles away, and they still looked like big chunks, they said. Now, Dr. Dai went on to confirm her observations by studying NASA's Landsat data, the satellite data collected between 2013 and 16. She said, with the wider perspective from Landsat, the movement of the slope was impossible to miss. She said you can see the whole section of the mountain between Cascade Glacier and Barry Glacier slumping towards the water. Between 2010 and 17, the slope moved forward by 400 feet. That's not a small distance, obviously, as you can imagine. However, since 2017, it's moved very little, but the threat of collapse is there, she said. She said that she was one of the 14 scientists behind an open letter warning the mega tsunami is likely to strike within the next 20 years. The scientists warned bays up to 30 miles from the fjord could see 30 feet tall waves. The letter reads, as this tsunami could impact areas frequented by tourists, fishing vessels, and hunters, potentially hundreds of people at one time. She said, we believe it's possible that this landslide-generated tsunami will happen within the next year and likely within 20 years. I mean, this is very strong wording for a scientist to say. We believe it's possible that this landslide-generated tsunami will happen within the next year. Earthquakes, prolonged rain, hot weather, driving permafrost thaw, and snow are all factors that could accelerate this landslide. And we know that we've been having record heat in the Arctic, especially over Siberia, record permafrost melting. We even saw a gas pipeline that had buckled and causing a tremendous environmental disaster there. And the company that had the pipeline was called to clean it up and pay for it, and they said, no, it's not our fault. It's an act of God. We're not responsible for the climate change and the permafrost melt, etc. So you can understand the big problems that are going on with all this record heat going on in the Arctic. So this is not just Siberia that's being affected, it's also Alaska, obviously. And this is what the scientists are coming up with now. The melting of this glacier that would be causing this huge tsunami. They believe it could very well happen within the next year and likely within 20 years. So it's the rain, the hot weather, permafrost thaw, snow are all factors that could accelerate the landslide. The scientists are now coordinating with the state and federal partners to properly evaluate the risk. Okay, so there is a risk. What are they going to do about it? Are they going to evacuate cities around that area? I don't know what they can do to stop this. Anyway, this is Sebastian Kettley on Express UK. Please leave your comment and thank you for your support. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.